We expected contrails to hit this week's Sim Update 3 for Microsoft Flight Simulator, but what else made the patch? Let's look at that, all the highlights from this week's Sim Update 3, including a stack of releases from third parties. It's been a massive week in flight simulations. Welcome to another Microsoft Flight Simulator update video. This is where we bring you all the news and updates on the development of this new flight sim. So if you want to stay up to date with all the Microsoft Flight Simulator news, hit that subscribe button. Before we jump into all the development updates, let's check out all the third-party previews and releases for the week. With the release of the CRJ very soon, it looks like the Aerosoft team is pushing forward with their developments on the Twin Otter. This week showcasing more preview shots. Again, we don't have any details on price or ETA, but from the look of the shots, it looks like it's well in development. This week, Aeroplane Heaven previewed some shots of their Supermarine Spitfire. The team mentions they are working on the flight model at the moment, so it's not too far away. From what we hear, it will be a fully functioned cockpit, and of course, we will keep you posted. But from the look of the pics, it looks really, really nice. That's it for all the previews this week, but we have a stack load of releases, and the first one goes out to the team at Vertical Sim. They have released Pa-28r Airport for the new sim. This GA airport is found on Davis Island, 5 minutes from downtown Tampa. Some of the features include a ortho cleanup, PBR textures on all the buildings in the ground. The 5-light pappies work properly. They have the glide slope and the correct degrees, which must be nice. Custom vegetation and the surrounding area has been modeled. You can pick up your copy of Pa-28r Airport from the Vertical Sim website, a link in the description below. Moving on to the next airport release. This one is from the developers over at Orbex with Statefoot Airfield. Statefoot Airfield was used by the RAF in the Second World War and found all the way in the Epping Forest area district of Essex. Some of the features include a fully custom model airport with weather textures, PBR textures on all the buildings, hand-placed clutter, true to life ground textures. You can pick up your copy of Statefoot Airfield directly from the Orbex store. Again, I'll leave a link in the description below. The next one just missed the releases for last week's show, which is the Flying Iron Simulations. They have released the Spitfire LF. Now, it's nearly a week old, so there is a bunch of videos already out on YouTube. Feel free to go and have a look at that if this is something that you want to pick up. But features include a detailed 3D cockpit model, sounds recorded from the real thing, simulated functions as close to the real thing as possible. You can pick up and purchase your copy of Flying Iron Spitfire directly through their store. Again, links below. Another aircraft release this week, and this one goes to the team at Just Flight, releasing the very anticipated Piper Pa-28r Ro3 this week. This is a very accurate model of the Arrow, which includes 4K PBR textures throughout the aircraft, authentic flight dynamics based on the real-world data performance of the aircraft. To be honest, there is too many features to list as a very highly detailed Ro3. Links below for the Just Flight website if you'd like to pick up your copy of the Just Flight Pa-28r Ro3. The next release for the week, this one goes to FSIM Studio Releases Vancouver for Microsoft Flight Simulator. This comes with the most up-to-date version of the real airport, 4K PBR textures through it, static commercial and GA aircraft, and 0.3 centimeter pixels custom orthos for the airport area. You can pick up your copy of Vancouver directly from the Orbex store. Links in the description below. In our last release for this week, this goes to the team at Seafront Simulations. They have released vessels for St. Martin's and St. Bart's. Following up on their freeware release last month, they now have this new product, which brings thousands of high-quality PBR textured ships and other styles and sizes of boats and stuff to the bays. You can tell I'm a plane guy, not a boat guy, but all models are all PBR. They have animated ships, motorboats, and yachts, night lightings in the marinas. You can pick up your copy directly from the Orbex store, links below. That's it for this week's previews and releases. We are now moving on to the patch notes for the release of the new Sim Update 3. Let's take a look at the highlights. Old school FSX liveries are now available for most of the aircraft. Kelmore, Emerald, Gold, Global Freightways, Orbit, and Pacifica, and World Travel. You'll find mostly the liveries will suit or fit on most of the aircraft, but not all of them. Contrails did make the sim, which was really good because we did predict that a couple of weeks ago, so glad we got that one right. But only on the aircraft at this stage. So if you're in a multiplayer, they won't display on the multiplayer, but that is still to come. They did mention that in the notes. New customize menus on the world map to adjust the aircraft, featuring wear and tear on the aircraft, control service limits, and also center of gravity. There are also some performance and stability improvements, but with any patch this always causes more bugs for the virtual pilots. But we've been saying that on the Q&A last week or a couple of days ago. They did mention that is the priority to fix all the crashes to desktop, so we may see a hot fix soon. The latest air rack cycle has been integrated. That's probably why the patch was so big. A bunch of the autopilot and FMS improvements have been made, too many to include. A bunch improvements to all the displays, or some of the displays you should say, within the cockpits, including cockpit interactions. Engines on various improvements on the Baron and the 747-800. Checklist got a decent update for a bunch of different aircraft and a bunch of improvements to VR. The wind panel on the UI for the weather has had the gust settings updated, so it's a little bit different than what it was before. Outlines against clouds and objects have been fixed. This was introduced in the last world update, I believe, or the one before that. Improved lighting under mountains. Taxi signs have had a little tweak, so you won't see a big taxi sign, a little taxi sign anymore, so I'm going to miss that. That was quite funny. This was only some of the updates, pretty much the highlights in my opinion for the whole update. It was pretty large, but I will leave a link in the description if you want to check out all of the patch notes. Taking a look at this week's development update directly from the Microsoft Flight Simulator team. Now, first one, as we mentioned with yesterday's development Q&A video, I recommend checking that out. I'll leave a card at the end so you can click on that one. The working title team, the guys behind the three source mods of the CJ4 and the G1000 have now joined forces, and they've basically been hired by the Microsoft Flight Simulator team, which is really cool. That'll bring some really cool development skills. You've seen what they've done with the CJ4. If you haven't, should check it out. It is absolutely amazing. This week in the development update, we got to see a partnership video on how that all took place, so you sort of get a bit of behind the scenes, which is a really good watch. The Microsoft Flight Simulator team mentioned that they want to be more transparent with the feedback snapshot, I should say, and the wish list. They now have added more detail around the expectation of what stage things are working on and when they're going to be released, I guess. We should see a more detail to come in future versions of the wish list and feedback snapshot, but here's the ones released today. 16 new products have made the marketplace this week, and we're currently, for the stats of the week, we have 7 new airports, 1 new aircraft, 1 new scenery, and 1 new mission pack that have been released by the third-party developers in different various stores. So a small update from the Microsoft Flight Simulator team, but that's okay. We did have a Q&A, we did have a new Sim Update 3, and we had a partnership video, so hey, that's okay. You guys can relax a little bit this week. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you go and hit that like button, as YouTube really loves the stuff, and so does Oz Flight Simmer. If you want to stay up to date with all the Microsoft Flight Simulator news, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you know when our next video goes live. We generally pop out a couple of videos a week, and also we stream every Wednesday and Sunday night at 8 PM GMT plus 10. I'm going to leave you with yesterday's development Q&A video, which has all or some of the real insights of where the sim is heading short term and also long term. So why don't you check that one out, and I will see you over there.